Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a big problem. So the C-band auction 107 is now completely done. We had the carriers purchase the licensing. Then that licensing had to be assigned, which is now done. They spent an additional $250 million during the assignment phase. So the total spent on the licensing now was rounded up to $81.2 billion. The total cost that the carriers are going to spend after clearing is going to be $94.2 billion. Here's the problem. Spent entirely too much money on the spectrum. Entirely. Nobody wins here. No carrier wins in this department, looking at it from a business point of view. The networks are going to be better. Yes, don't get me wrong. They're going to start giving you 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 megabits per second and well over a gig. But from a business point of view, no carrier wins here. Not one. Not one carrier wins. Way too much money spent. This is what John talked about as the CEO of T-Mobile. This is what the Sprint and T-Mobile combination would create. It created a scenario and an environment where Verizon and At&T had to spend as much as they did just to compete. We're not talking about get ahead or stay ahead. They had to spend what they're going to spend just to compete in the market space. So over the next years, Verizon and At&T are going to have to figure out how to make a return on this investment. Verizon already spent a abundance of money on millimeter wave, which they're now rolling out. So that's additional money spent on that. They're scaling it, but they just can't scale it fast enough. It's going to take a long time to really scale this millimeter wave. So I think, again, I still take this stance, take this as an opinion of mine. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a professional analyst. I still think Verizon is positioned the worst out of the carriers in terms of a ROI, return on investment on this money spent. Yes, they're doing home internet, but how fast can they scale it? And then if they do get it to bigger scale, there's no guarantee that people are going to sign up specifically with them. There's competition out in the market now. So that'll be very interesting to see. They're not big on media. They're not at large scale with media. So that's going to be another interesting factor. They seem to be going with the pure wireless play, and they want to do partnerships. They don't want to own any of the content. They want you to stream the third-party content over their network, which makes sense, but they're going to have to figure out how to make this money back. Will it be enterprise? Yes, but the enterprise is feeding the millimeter wave. So you can expect 100% for them to monetize C-band that is also coming with home internet. So that will allow them to scale it faster, but they still have to go through the clearing process. The top 50 clears at the end of this year. The B and C blocks, they clear, depending on markets as well. There's clearing costs involved. They could spend in other markets to clear it sooner. T-Mobile did the same with 600 megahertz, so that's a possibility. But there's still a waiting period, not only for the clearing. Even if they do clear it sooner, there's still a waiting period. There's still a wait associated with this. So I still think Verizon is least positioned here, or worst positioned in terms of return on investment, and they are likely to be put in a position to raise prices on wireless. I've spoken with several people. They said do not be surprised if Verizon goes up $20 on its wireless plans. So again, like I said, this is an opinion of mine. I'm no financial advisor. I just think overall Verizon is worse positioned on the return on investment. Will they have the best network? Yes. I still truly believe that. They'll have a mix of millimeter wave, C-band, a huge densification that AT&T is going to go through over the next 24 to 36 months. And I still think early on Verizon will be the best network, or not early on, but once they have more of this at scale, I still think they will obtain the best network performance. But I think they are the worst positioned in terms of a return on investment, because it won't come from wireless alone. They have to figure out how to scale and add revenue. Who do I think is the best position on return on investment and a company that may not need to raise wireless pricing? That would have to be AT&T. They own their own media content. They own it. So AT&T TV, HBO Max is a pure win in this department. It is a 100% win-win scenario for them. They have to figure out how to operate it better. The no contract for AT&T TV means they're becoming more flexible. HBO Max, it's selling itself. Q4, customers are switching to it in droves. So it's selling itself, and it's getting ready to go global on the big scale starting in June. So that is going to be a successful stream of revenue that AT&T's books have never had. So that's going to be brand new revenue, brand new profit. Fiber, it's a huge, huge success now. Where T-Mobile and Verizon have chosen to go with the wireless airwaves, which I truly believe that the internet is going mobile, AT&T has done the opposite. They saw, okay, our fiber is working. Our fiber is getting high ratings. People like the fiber, and more people are calling in to acquire about the fiber. So they are investing in upgrading the existing infrastructure that had UVerse previously, UVerse Internet. They're rolling it out and adding fiber to those neighborhoods, and in newer neighborhoods, it's brand new fiber optic. So I don't think they announced this officially yet, but I think the way they're going to be an all fiber optic company on a larger scale with their home internet. So that product is going to work. It's going to be big. And that's where I think their return on investment comes from, the C-band investment. I don't believe that they outspent Verizon. I don't believe that. I think Verizon significantly outspent AT&T. I would say roughly between 10 to 15 billion, comfortably outspent them. But keep in mind too, AT&T has had more spectrum versus Verizon on the mid-band side, the lower mid-band, the 1.9 and then the 2.1 and 2.3 with band 30. So they've had more spectrum. So once they are able to refarm some of that spectrum, it'll be big for them. Now, what's going to hold Verizon above float from what I've been seeing is that CBRS. They're rolling that out at a furious pace. I know it's low power, but again, they have the density. They're adding the small cells, the C-RAN, they're adding it on the macros. The macro grid is getting denser. So they've been working towards that for years now. So that's going to hold them above float. And then eventually that CBRS also will be refarmed for NR purposes. So I think, again, on the network side, I don't think there's anything to really be worried about from Verizon or AT&T. AT&T is going through a massive bloodbath right now in densification across the United States. Over the next 36 months, they're trying to squeeze in a lot of densification. So I think they'll be okay, but I think the business case, T-Mobile is probably the company that's least worried about any of this. They have lesser debt than the big two. They're doing media, they're doing home internet now to create their own new revenues and profits. So they're going to compete. They're going to be bringing the competition. And the big two, like John said, this combination of Sprint and T-Mobile is going to make the big two spend tons and tons and tons of money. So I'm also going to go on record. Again, this is just a prediction. I think starting next year, Verizon and AT&T are going to increase CapEx. I think they do it. I think they have to. They want to be able to massively scale C-band, big time. Because I can tell you right now, from what I've seen earlier in the last few days, T-Mobile is scaling N41 at rates never seen before. You thought the 600 megahertz rollout was fast. wait until you see the money that they're pouring in on their existing grid with N41. It's going to be all over. They're going to do this fast, very, very fast, and their speeds are going to drastically improve. There's another backhaul increase scheduled to happen, so this is going to be massive, massive, massive competition going forward in the wireless industry. So let me know what you think about this. Just wanted to make this video letting you guys know the C-band has been fully assigned. Next week, we should know exactly where and what the carriers won in terms of all the blocks. That info should all be released next week. And then we go on from there. We'll start tracking if carriers are already deploying the panels, where they're deploying them at. Likely the top 50 will be hit first. So the T-Mobile 5G speed lead is going to decrease shortly, but I think they still have a massive lead outside of the top 50, especially if the carriers don't clear it much, much sooner in AT&T and Verizon. So if you have been on the channel or you are new to the channel and you have not yet liked, shared, subscribed, make sure you do so. Hit the notification bell so you are notified when I do upload content. Make sure to follow the social media outlets for more updates and interactions. Thanks again for watching. This is Tyrone with Tech Life, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.